Good morning. My name is Greg Deacon. I'm the head of sales for Myworkpapers. I'll be taking you through the session today. It's almost 10 o'clock. We'll get started on time. So just bear with us 1 second. We'll just give everybody a little bit more time to come in. Okay, it is 10 o'clock. We will get started. We won't reward latecomers. As I said, my name is Greg Deacon, head of sales for ANZ. I'll be taking you through the year-end work paper section today, or the webinar today. There is a chat screen or a chat feature and a Q&A feature in your menu bar. If you want to use that at any time, just pop in some questions. If you need to ask any at the time that's relevant, I'll try and stop as much as I can and answer them. I will be reaching out to everybody after the session anyway, just to make sure you've got all the information you need. I do move fairly quickly, so as to get everybody back to their day with plenty of time to spare. So let's jump in. I'm going to do a very short PowerPoint just to give you a little bit of detail around history and what the product is about. So let's get going. Hopefully you'll get everything you need out of it. I'll jump in now. Okay, a bit of history about Myworkpapers. We established it in 2009 on the Gold Coast, and it was a product called Audit Flow originally. So we are very heavily audit-centric as well. We did actually move operations over to the UK, start operations in UK as well in 2011 to build out the audit and year-end work papers over there. Since then, it's gone gangbusters in the UK as well as Australia. So we did rebrand in 2015 as Myworkpapers because we did realise that not only audit work papers are big in this country and in the UK, also company compliance, year-end, individual tax, and in Australia more so SMSF obviously is a big thing. So we are very, very heavy on all of those different types of work papers. So we cover absolutely everything for you. We do have we have clients in Australia, UK, and New Zealand, and we are branching out to other countries as we speak with ideas on what else we can cover. We are quite agile in our growth, so you do see a lot of changes in Myworkpapers quite quickly, which is great from a software point of view and great from a client point of view because they do get to reap the benefits of changes in the market without having to wait too long for the software provider to add those to the products. We've won multiple awards over the years, including 2023 Accounting Software of the Year and 2024 Accounting App of the Year at the International Accountancy Awards. So we are well revered in the market internationally as well as not only Australia, New Zealand. Our clients tell us we solve a bunch of problems for them. Some of the main problems are that we actually save you a heap of time in processing a job. And as accountants, as you know, that's one of the big things that you need to have in any of your software programs because you need to get a decent ROI. If you're not getting money back on your investment, you shouldn't be implementing those types of software packages. And we know, based on what our clients tell us, that we will save you money. And hopefully you will see some of those areas, and I'll try and point them out as I go through today. We do give you the ability to standardize your workflow. It's one of those things that I hear over and over and over from accountants and auditors is that they might have a bunch of accountants working for them, but they all do their own thing. That makes it really difficult when it comes for the senior managers and the partners to review their work to ensure that it's done properly because they have done different things. So we allow you to set up a standard workflow. We can actually copy it from another workflow if you've got it in another product directly into the system so that each particular accountant or user must follow the bouncing ball. They must follow the way you want them to follow it so that you have a much easier review process. We've got a couple of different dashboards, which I'll show you in the system, which give you very, very clear visibility from an individual point of view and from an overarching firm point of view. Very, very good for your capacity planning, very, very good for managing your staff and knowing exactly where those jobs actually are in progress. As I said before, we cover a lot of different things. You can see there from a year-end point of view, we do companies, trust, partnerships, sole traders, SMSF. We also do periodic reporting, so monthly and quarterly, in the same year-end file, which allows you to roll over into the annual file. And we do individuals and personal tax. As I said before, we also look after all of the audit. If you do have audit in your firm, limited companies, not-for-profit associations, SMSF trust accounting, so real estate and legal, and international templates. Keep in the back of your mind, you can see their custom template. Doesn't matter what work papers you need, we can customize to suit. Okay, we have stock standard, you can start working today, or if you want to mix it up a little bit, change it around, you can use some of our work papers, use some of your work papers. We are very flexible, but we make it incredibly simple for you to get up and running. As we are one of the best of breed cloud and native cloud products, and we always have been, we also integrate with some of those best of breeds as well, such as your Xero, your QuickBooks, your FYI docs, for your super compliance class, BGL Supermate, also the audit, obviously, and we've got a full integration with Office 365. Now, if you do have any other client software that you need to get a trial balance for or a general ledger from, we have a very, very simple CSV import. Okay, and I'll show you that as we go through. That was it. Hopefully that didn't bore you too much from the PowerPoint point of view. Let's jump in to the product and I'll take you through that. Now, hopefully everybody can see that okay. I believe you should be able to. As I said in my work papers, we do have a couple of different dashboards. We actually have an extra one for SMSF for administrators and auditors, so it's a third one, but we have two in our year-end products and our audit products otherwise. This particular one is an individual user dashboard, and every time somebody logs in, they can come directly into this screen. What this tells us is a bunch of information. Left-hand side here, we've got things called activity feeds and my recent files. The activity feeds are a bit like an audit trail. So I can see what I've been doing in my files at what particular date. I could also see if there was somebody else collaborating in a file with me because it'd show in here as well. I can have unlimited users in a particular file if I need to in my work paper. So I might be collaborating with another staff member on a complex end of view. I might be collaborating with another firm that we've invited into the file because that's absolutely possible as well. And I've got links to jump into those files after I've seen what I've done. I can see my recent files, which is self-explanatory, obviously. As we start to prepare and sign off work papers, these particular fields will start to fill up. Okay, this is just my recent one, so I can only see the last 5 on here. I can have a link directly to those files. I can see how much I've completed of that file, and I can jump back in there really quickly if I want to. I can see that one's 20% complete, 1% complete, 6% complete. So obviously the idea is to get them all 100% complete. In my work papers, we give you the ability to correspond not only with you externally, but internally as well. So internally, we have what we call review points, and review points are messages that we send between us and our staff, okay, and vice versa. I could have review points such as this one here. Someone sent this for me to please review the tax liabilities in the Tony Collette construction file with a link to jump straight into that work paper where those tax liabilities are in that particular file. Another one here, I need to add an asset valuation in that one. Under here, we've got client queries. Now, client queries are a query that I would send via an email alert to a client to ascertain what they need us to complete for them. So basically get the information we need to complete their year-end tax. Okay, I might need to get some bank statements from them. I might have some questions on their tax for the year. I might have other things that I need them to provide. I can do it through a simple client query, which alerts them via a simple email, and it might be simple as ABC Accountants has sent you a couple of queries. Please log in and complete, and they'll be able to go into client query section, which I'll show you in a second, and they'll be able to complete the answers to whatever you've sent them. Might be an end of year checklist, and I've got it here actually. Please provide the documents as per the attached list, which is an end of year checklist, and they can attach the files to that by simple upload or a simple click and drag. They will stay on my dashboard until I've actually completed, so nothing falls through the gaps. Over here, we've got a simple little graph with in progress. If I click on it, it takes me links to those files. What's been archived with links in those files. Oops, didn't mean to click on that one. Go back there quickly. And I've also got what's completed with links to those files. I can view that in multiple different periods if I want. Now, Depending on the size of the firm, security is going to be of utmost importance, especially with all data breaches and things nowadays. If you've got large number of users, if you're doing offshoring outsourcing, you want really strict user access. We actually have 8 different levels, which is customizable. Use ours if you like. Use whatever you like. This might be Bob the partner, Jane the partner, Bill the manager, might be Bob the graduate. You can have them set up however you like with the certain permissions with what you want for your business. I can set up client users in here quite simply. So I need my clients to come in to the file or log into the file to provide their documents and to provide answers to my questions. So I set them up and give them access to their files. External firms might be the auditors. So I can actually invite auditors into the file if they need to be in there, into that audit area. I can also invite in external firms if I'm working with an external firm. And read only is simply just maybe a senior partner wants to have a bit of a nosy around every now and again. So roles and permissions are basically what we link to those, the roles themselves. So here's our 8 different roles up the top. As I said, call them whatever you like. Underneath, we've got a very granular way of actually locking people in and out of different areas. And I can give access to these very quickly, just with one click to everything, or I can make it a granular access. A great way to manage your staff to ensure that they're not doing things that they shouldn't be doing and lock them out of areas that you don't want them to be. And it might be in editing work papers or editing reports or whatever in the system itself. Okay. So our second dashboard is our workflow manager. Okay, and our workflow manager is the overarching dashboard on every job in our firm. So as I was saying before, we look after personal tax, we look after SMSF and SMSF audit and general audit, trust audit, so on and so forth. So I've got everything in here in my demo file, but I might just want to view that by our year ends for this presentation. So they're all my year end files in the firm. Okay, if I had somebody assigned to them, it's a fairly new feature. I would actually have assigned in here, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. I've already assigned other people to this, so I can actually see how a team is going or an individual user is going with all of their clients. So this is Alex's jobs, and I can flip it on its head. I can see the most completed down to the least completed. So he hasn't actually completed any of the files, so I might not give him any more work until he has. I might set a deadline on some of those files to make sure that he can actually he will actually finish those on time, so nothing goes over time. I can set statuses to each of these. So as Alex is working through, he might say, well, I'm 34% because I'm awaiting on information. And these are customizable, call them whatever you like as well. So why is he waiting on information? Well, I'd go and have that conversation. I might actually assign somebody else to actually answer that for him so he can continue on, but I can see that directly from the dashboard very, very quickly. If Alex wants to actually notify the manager that it's ready for manager's review, he'd change that to ready for manager's review. He'd select the manager and he'd add a note in here just to simply say, please review. And when the manager has completed it, and that will send off an email notification, because you can see here we've got email beside it, and I can add email to any of those if I want. It's customizable. The manager will send a message to say back, well, I've completed the review, please move on or whatever, okay, and set a different status to it. I can also see if my review points have been cleared, and I can see if the files have been archived. So I can change the different views of this just by changing the different filters quite easily. So it's a great management tool for capacity and for managing your staff and having a really good idea of where every job is in the system itself. All right, let's go and set up a new file. So in my work papers, we use things called templates. Now, a template is simply a customizable set of work papers that you want to use every time you do a year-end work paper pack for a particular type of client. As you can see here, when I'm going to set up a new client, and your admin people can do this, it's that simple. All you have to do is tell them what sort of template it is, and this one's going to be a year-end template. Who is the client? And we bring all the data in, all the client details directly into the system. So you will see absolutely everything in here. As soon as you start typing, that client's name will pop up. And we add the year end we're doing, which is, this case is 2025, 30 June. And that's all we need to do. It selects everything else for us. And I'm going to create that file. Now, this only takes a couple of seconds, and it's going to give us a set of work papers, or set up a work paper pack for our year-end template for Kate Blanchett for 2025. Now, this is just going to be a basic template. We can actually do a lot of customization as we go, but if we've set up the template correctly to start with, which is very, very simple to do, and we teach you how to do it, and we set up the first ones with you so that you've got everything you need, you will never have to customize this, hopefully. There are going to be certain times where you might need to add a work paper here and there. You can absolutely do all that sort of stuff very, very simply, adding new work papers, new folders, so on and so forth, if you've got the rights to do this stuff. This is all customizable. I can move it around if I want and do all that sort of stuff. But as I said, you'll set it up as a template and you won't have to do it as you're working through it. But it tells me I've got 25 work papers, none in progress, none in completed. Obviously, these will change as we work through. So our admin person set up our base template. Okay. First thing they want to do is probably get that information from the client. Now, the accountant hasn't had to touch the file at all yet. The admin person's doing this stuff. So very simply, we might go to a client query, and it might be as simple as a year-end checklist, and it might be, hi, Kate, please answer questions and attach docs. Okay. If you type it properly, it looks much better. All right, so I've actually set up that query to be sent out to Kate. I might have a few more queries that I need to get information, but this is very basic. So I would say notify client. Client's details will be in there because we've already brought them in, okay? And we've already said it's for Kate, so Kate's email details will automatically populate. I can also at that stage, being the admin person, notify either the accountant or the partner that I'm sending out these queries, and I've set up this file. So once it's sent out without logging into multiple email addresses, you'll get the idea. The client will get a very basic question. Say, admin person from ABC Accountants has sent you a query. Please log in and answer the questions. They won't see any of this when they log in. They won't see any of the email addresses. They'll just see below the optional message line. Very, very simple. Client will log in and they'll see, okay, please answer the questions and attach docs. Or where do I go? Very simply, just click on B4. And there is our client checklist. Now, the client is in their file, all right? They don't have to fill this in and then print it out and send it back to you. This is working live in their file. So they might answer their questions using accounting software. Yes, they might actually put some answers there. Maintaining a manual cash book, well, it might be no, and they might put some comments in there. And they would work through completing that checklist, okay, for you. So you should have all the information you need. Now, you've also asked them to attach some documents. So they would go into the supporting document area. Supporting document area will allow them to insert certain documents that they need. So they would go to their local machine and they would go to their documents, wherever they've got them. I've got some sample statements here, and you might ask for, say, 4 different statements. Now, they can either upload them or they can simply click and drag them from their local machine directly into the file. Now, that was super simple. I haven't had to send any extra emails except the initial alert that I need some documents. Now, when they've completed it and sent the documents, or put the documents in here, they would simply say notify firm. So this will say notify firm, and you'll get an email to say that Kate has completed the queries and attached the documents. You will then go in and say, right, they're sitting here ready to send off to a folder so that I can then start attaching them to anything I need. Very simple. They've all been sent now to my workpaper index and to my permanent files, and they've all been referenced straight away. So I can now start attaching those to anything in my workpaper system itself. Okay. Now, you might want to have a bit of a conversation with them. So you can absolutely, without having to send multiple emails, just say, hi, Kate. And it might be, Kate might respond, hi, accountant. You might say, well, what's up? You get the idea, okay? And it's all date stamped with whoever wrote the query and the reply. So without having to find multiple emails year after year, everything is kept, every conversation, every document is kept within the file, all right? For access whenever you need to access it. So the client query section is one of the strongest in the market, so we've been told. Data breaches are happening more and more via email, and they're no longer covered by insurance, I believe, or certain insurance companies. So be very, very careful. Use as many portals as you can. Okay, so we've now got fairly complete workpaper pack. So the admin person would then assign it to an accountant, Remember, as I was saying before, in that dashboard, you would see who's assigned to it. So the dashboard will show that Alex is now assigned to that. Poor Alex has got another one to do. But that's okay. That'll pop up in his dashboard as well, and he'll be ready to go. So the first thing Alex is going to do is he's going to import the trial balance. And it says here, certain work papers won't be activated until that trial balance is imported. So very simply, we would go to our trial balance and we would select where we're going to import it from. For this demo, I'm going to import it from Xero. Now, obviously, it's two-factor authentication like anything. By the way, we sit on AWS servers in Sydney with redundant centers. We do everything that you would imagine for any software. Nowadays, we work with some very big firms, so we've had to jump through a lot of hoops over the years. Put in my authenticator code, as you would with many others, and it takes us into Xero. And it says, Myworkpapers wants to access demo company. Yep, happy to do that. Let's allow access. Excuse me. We select the organization and we bring in both current and prior, or we can bring it in just individually. By the way, as I said, if it is a CSV file from any other product, we have a pre-mapped area already. Okay, so it should be very simple to map any CSV file that we bring in. And I'll show you that in a little bit. So we continue to the trial balance import from our Xero book. So that's done. There's our trial balance from Xero client sitting in Myworkpapers now. Now, I've left a couple unmapped on purpose just to show you how easy it is to map them. We grab the lead schedules directly from the client file and we populate the drop down. So grab it, map it, we're done. Map it once, only ever map it once because we allow you to roll it over year on year, and the mapping is retained. You will have to do a little bit of mapping unless you use 100% the standard mapping in the standard chart within Xero. Okay, so they're all fairly standard, our codes, our descriptions, lead schedules, so on and so forth. So we're ready to start doing some work. You probably noticed we jumped from 29 to 36 work papers. The system is intuitive enough to know that we didn't have work papers for certain accounts or lead schedules that we brought in. So it added them automatically, which is fantastic. So you didn't have to do any work. But let's say, and this will happen from time to time, you've got a client that's completely out of the box, out of the ordinary. You may need to add some extra work papers as you're working through. So we actually have what we call a customizer. It makes it really easy for you. I can just go and answer some questions based on this client, and it will then give us all the extra work papers they want. You wouldn't answer all of these, just the ones that pertain to the client. This client might have livestock. They might have interest and they might have dividends, so on and so forth. I'm just going to answer all of them for this presentation. You would only answer a couple of them that you need to. But I get click happy in this presentation. I want to show you all the work papers, well, as many as possible anyway, because we've got over 200 in the system. We've been doing this a long time. You should have every work paper you possibly need. So we've got 65 that we've just populated then. A bit like a lever arch folder, as I said, folders underneath, we have all of our work papers. Now, a bit of extra information there. We keep all of your compliance checklists up to date. People are coming to me a lot now and saying they're getting a rap on the knuckles from the associations when they're being audited because they're not completely compliant. We have every compliance checklist that you would need, and we have one for every folder. So for our planning, for our income, for our expenses, for income tax, everything. Basically, they are just the checklists that have to be filled in to say that you're compliant based on the legislation, which we keep up to date for you, saving you a lot of time. You don't have to update it, we update it for you, okay? So keep in the back of your mind, time savings all the time. I'm going to show you, we will save you a minimum half-hour client, absolute minimum. That area itself, if that doesn't save you half an hour updating checklists each year, I don't know what does. Okay. We can actually customize all of these areas too. These are all customizable areas if you need to. If you don't want any of these checklists in specific programs, you can actually delete any of them if you want. You can edit any of these areas, all right? Move these if you want. Totally up to you. Keep stock standard. You can have these pre-ticked to save you time. And we just roll those into your template. So every time you select a year-end template for this client, it'll have these ones pre-ticked because you know the answers are correct. So I've just saved you a heap of time and compliance again. I can bulk sign off all of these if I want, very, very simply. I can customize the actual sign-off stages here because not everybody's got that many sign-off roles. You can make it more complex or less complex. For this demo, I'm just going to have somebody prepare it and the partner sign it off. So I've changed it to prepared and partner's going to sign this off. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to go. And that'll roll out over all of those different work papers. So the way we actually start the work, there's two different ways to do it. If you're really competent, you might be the partner and you know you're going to do things the right way at all times, you can just go through each particular work paper and finish them. And as they're finished and signed off, these particular bars will start to fill up. Okay, and I'll show you that in a second. The best way to do it, I believe, if you've got multiple staff and to standardize your workflow, is set up a list of procedures. Okay, and the procedures should have the particular work papers attached to them, which you can see here. I've got my planning program attached to these ones here because they're all on the planning program. But then you say to your staff, you must go through these and complete each one. And as each one is completed, it shows as completed. And I'll show you that in a second. We set this up with you to start with. We can give you a stock standard set of procedures, or you can have your own procedures. It's up to you. A lot of people already have their own workflow in their business, so they prefer to copy it in. You can copy it in. Totally up to you. All right, so we set that up with your template. But it's very, very simple. We have a set of folders on the left-hand side, which we call workflow steps. And we have a set of procedures under each workflow step. So compilation, reports completion. We might want to put in a new one here, which is a new tax step. Okay, and we can add that in very, very simply. And our new tax step is there. I might put that in step 2. All right, so customizable, moved it around. Now, next tax step might be complete tax rec. And add that task. And I would attach the tax rec to it. Okay, so that I know the next person who comes in here and completes this step has the attached work paper to complete. So to give you an idea, if I was going to start this out, or if I've got a junior, you'd send them to the workflow diagram or the procedures section and say, follow the bouncing ball, go from question 1, or go from step 1. Complete procedures as to whether it's able to accept the engagement. Where do we go? B1. Click on it, takes us to our planning program. What have they got to do? Well, we've got to start to prepare it. Any reason why the engagement shouldn't be accepted? Well, you might be no, and you might say, well, please refer to attached. I can attach a hyperlink if it's a piece of legislation from the ATO or whatever, or I can actually come in here and attach maybe one of those documents that I got earlier as a proof from the document. I might want to attach, say, C4, a dividends sheet here, because it actually appears on the dividends sheet, which is C4. So I've now just attached those. Now I've attached them to there. The next person that comes in here, or any person that clicks in here, will come straight to the bank statement or straight to the dividends received worksheet. Okay. Very, very simple to attach anything right through the system, as long as it's in the system. Now, having said that, and by the way, sorry, that's the way I'd work through each particular checklist, and the work papers are noted different. Somebody would prepare them, somebody would complete them. So this next one might be no, this one might be yes, this one might be yes. We might add in comments as we go and attach different documents as we go. Totally up to you how you want to do it. All right, but as long as they follow those procedures. Now, let's say that Greg the Junior has done as much as he can do. The partner's just asked him to get it started, so he's completed what he can. Okay, the partner comes in here after being notified. So Greg the Junior is going to say, I'm going to add a review point and let the partner know that they need to complete it. So partner review point, B1 is the work paper, it picks up on that. It might be, hi partner, please review, and complete. Okay, choose the partner you want to notify, create the review point. Once it's created, the partner will get a notification on their dashboard and in their screen if they're in my work papers with a link to that particular work paper. Hi partner, please review, wherever I've got to go. B1 takes me to B1. They come in, they can see exactly that Greg's prepared and he's asked me to review and complete it. Okay, oh, he hasn't completed it all. I can do that, I'm in a hurry. So I might come through and I might add some extra points in here or comments or whatever, totally up to me. Might attach a few things if I want. I might say that one's yes. Now, partner might say, I know all of these are actually yes. So I'm in a bit of a hurry. I'm going to bulk sign these off. So speeding up processing once again, I can say yes, no, or not applicable to everything. I'm going to say yes. I know the top 2 are actually no's. The rest are all marked off yes. Happy days. I've just saved myself a heap of time. I'm going to complete it. That is now locked off. Okay. If I go back to the work paper index now, you can see 25% of that folder is actually completed. I can also see my workflow from a review point of view that that folder is now in progress and B1 has been completed. Okay, so if I was following the bouncing ball, complete the budget would be the next one and go to the budget worksheet. Let's say I'm completing the tax rec. I'll complete the tax rec. I'll go to the tax rec. Same thing, I've only got 2 steps, prepared by and completed by. This is our standard tax rec. And just to show you how agile we are and how customizable we are, let's say you're a partner and you've got a really fantastic tax rec you've been working with for years, or whatever workpaper is, it doesn't matter. They're all Excel workpapers or Word workpapers. So because we have that link with Office 365, you can actually add some of yours on the fly or add them at the template level if you want, if you've got a really good one. You can copy them from someone else if you want. It's really simple. So I could simply go replace. I can go to where my documents are that I need, or my demo workpaper templates are. I'm going to add in a new tax rec. Okay, this is simply if you do want to replace it. It'd all be set up in your template anyway, but just to give you an indication of how flexible it is. I now have new tax rec and it's become part of my workflow and part of my workpaper pack for Kate Blanchett. I can also apply data into that directly from the trial balance without having to manually enter anything. And we would normally set it up so that you've got every bit of data filled in here. This is just for a demo that I'm showing you, just to show you that we can bring in that data directly from the trial balance. Okay, let's say I want to start working on it. I just open it in Office and I start adding in whatever I want to add in. All of our calculations, probably zeros I include. It's just Excel. As you can see, formulas are there. If I need to change a formula, I can do that sort of stuff. If I need to link, we'll find out where data come from. I can see it came from the P&L in that one, because we create the P&L and the balance sheet from the trial balance for you as well. And I can modify that if I need to. But I'd lock it down normally once I've got it set at template level, so nobody can make those changes. And I can definitely do that. To save it, simple as out of it, and that saves it in the live work paper. Okay, all of our changes have been made in there. What that also does is create an audit trail, okay, and a version. So every time there's a change made to that work paper, because it is Excel, sometimes a formula can be corrupted, sometimes somebody can make a big mistake, you don't want to go back to scratch. I can review it by clicking on the version. It just gives us a downloadable version I can have on another screen. Or I can just simply go to restore if I do need to restore, and it takes me directly back to that previous version where we had nothing on it. Okay, I can do that at any time, and it tells me exactly who did what. And every time I've created a new version, it gives me a new version to restore. But I can see on the 5th of January, Greg D can replace that one. Okay. For historical data, I can always click on client info. It brings up every work paper pack I've ever done for this client, because I also do audits for them. I might want to have a look at June 2019's year end and compare. I can right click, open link in new tab, and that gives us 2019's work paper pack, and I can go into those and have a look at that if I want to make any comparisons I need to. Okay, that's work paper index and workflow. Okay, we can see all of those are complete. Oh, I didn't complete my tax rec. Let's do that as well. So very simply, prepared by, completed by. Go back to my work paper index. I can see 25% of the income tax folder is now completed. I can also see my workflow folder that new tax step has been completed as well. So from a review point of view, I can go through all of my completeds in any of my folders and see if everything's been completed properly. Let's have a look at the trial balance and see a few things in here. We brought it directly in from the Xero file, all mapped, happy days. Got our codes. I can flip those and group those if I need to. Excuse me. We also produce the P&L, which we can drill into if we want. Okay. We also produce the balance sheet for you, which we can drill down into. I can also go down into the lead schedule summaries to see what makes up those figures. So if I want to work from here, I'm more than happy to, or more than welcome to. I can add in notes directly onto the lead schedule line, the summary line. I can add in any of my documents into my line. I can attach any work papers onto that line. I can also attach tick marks, which have been more widely used, to just show very, very quickly, if I scan over this with my eyes, I can see what's actually happened very quickly. I can see Alex has checked it, and so has Dane. Okay, customizable, call them whatever you want. It's totally up to you, but you can get really funky with them and put different colors, and makes life very easy for you when you're reviewing reports. So let's say that one's completed as well. Now, because I've done it in the lead schedule summary, if I go back to my trial balance, I can also see that's been done on the trial balance line. I can do it either way. If I want to do it from the trial balance, I can absolutely 100% do it from the trial balance as well. So I can attach my documents, I can attach my work papers directly from here, and they're all clickable. I can go directly into them at any time. Let's go into the trial balance here. I'll show you something pretty cool. We have a full PDF editor in Myworkpapers. And I can open up that PDF. I can now start to search for anything on it, and it'll just highlight everything and give us every instant that it appears in that PDF. I can also go to edit that document and start to annotate it. So I might want to actually highlight something. I can do that. I might want to underline a particular figure for whatever reason. I can do that. I might want to add a note to that figure. I can do that. Whatever I want to alert other people that come in here that that's what I'm doing. Now, I can add stamps to it. I can add signatures. I can add sign here. Things that other PDF editors can do. Some people get rid of their Adobe subscription and just bring a document in here, edit it, and they can export it out even if they don't want to keep it in here. Excuse me. Really cool thing we do is if I click on this panel up left-hand side here, it brings up every work paper with their references, okay, that we have in this work paper pack. It also brings up all the documents that we brought in. Okay, so let's say that figure here, 5,000, actually appears on, say, the budget worksheet. I can attach budget worksheet to that figure. Let's say this 9,000 here appears on the livestock worksheet. I can attach that to that figure. Now, excuse me, but a frog in the throat. When I go out of edit mode now, that will update the live PDF in the system. And I can see there's my notes. I can see my highlights, my underlines. I can also see these attachments here with references. Now, if anybody comes in here and clicks on these references, it takes you directly to the particular work paper that was attached. If I want to see where this figure is, well, it's attached to C2, so it must be on C2. Go to C2, there's my livestock worksheet. Now, that is really cool. That is another huge time saver. Attachment of documents, source documents, and we can attach both ways. Okay, it's totally up to you which way you want to do it, what works best for you. But as I said, we can attach to any of the lead schedules, to any of the trial balance areas, to any of the work papers themselves, to any of the programs themselves. So attaching documents is so simple and very, very quick. So if I go back to my trial balance here, people have asked me before, Greg, what happens if you update in the trial balance in the client file? I would actually, at the end of completing this, just have a step to re-import it. Totally up to you. You'll know if there's been any changes made in that file. But so that you don't have to make changes or journals directly in the file and then keep re-importing, we allow you to do journals directly from Myworkpapers. So I'll show you very quickly what I mean. I'm going to do a basic journal called rent. It's an adjusted journal. Let's say, grab the account code. We'll debit 10 grand. We'll credit sales. You probably wouldn't do that, but I will do that just for this presentation. I'm not an accountant. It's probably pretty obvious. Let's say I've done 20 adjusting journals down the page, okay? And we're ready to export them out to zero. I can grab individual ones, or I grab them all, and I can say export. Export journals to zero. Now, I can post them directly into the file, or I can save them as a draft before I post them, just to check them. I can actually review them beforehand here. I can also review them now that I've entered them in the trial balance. So I can see it's already affected the trial balance here in the balance sheet, and they're sitting in there and I can review them. Now, let's just say you want to review them further, or you want to send off a list of them to either be imported into the file or to be checked. I can export everything out to CSV if I want, and then they can be imported at a time that suits in the future. Up to you. So it's a great way to make sure that all of your journals are done firstly, and you only have to update the client file in one go. All right. Can't see any questions there at the moment. Okay, let's go back to the work paper index really quickly. I can now see that things are starting to fill up. And obviously, we want to get to the end of everything with everything done. So I can see I actually did some work in the assets as well, because I was in the current assets lead schedule summary a little bit earlier. From a review point of view, I might want to change the way this looks. So if I'm the partner and I need to know what I've got to go and sign off on, I can change the view on this one to show me everything that's sitting at prepared. So I know I've got to go into those folders and sign off those work papers completely. I might want to load some documents in here really, really quickly. I can also do that. Might want to put that in the GST folder. I can do that. I might want to save that as BS1 because it's a bank statement. I can confirm upload and load those directly into the GST folder very, very simply. And there they are, ready to attach anywhere. I can move them around into different orders if I don't want them. I can put them in different folders if I want, very, very simple. So that's all very customizable as well to get in the exact order that you want. I might actually be using a product like FYI for my document management. We actually have an integration with FYI. So it makes it really simple to grab documents from them. Let's say Ashley's a client. I need to find Ashley Colton's cabinet. Sample. In this case, I can select a year. Not going to select a year. I'm just going to grab it directly from Ashley's folder or cabinet. These are the only two files she's got in there. I'm going to send them all to, say, my assets folder, not income tax, assets folder. I can send them to individual. I can send them all to the one folder if I want. I'm going to send them all to the assets. That's done. Go to my asset folder, and there's my two documents from FYI cabinet. So very, very easy and quick import from FYI, which is very, very handy as well. Okay, let's say I'm running late, I'm a partner, or I do have the rights to do this. I can actually sign off all of these in one go as well, just to, once again, speed up processing. So that half an hour to get back in your day from this particular client, very, very simple. Okay, in a lot of different areas, I've just sped up processing. All right, so let's say this is all complete. This is all 100%. I know it's not, but let's say it is. Once completed, you would probably export this out to a zip file. Now, if you've got a document management system, doesn't matter what it is, the best way to do things is gather all of the information, all the documents in the work paper pack itself, because it'll stay there forever. When you have completed that particular year, export it out in a nice, neat zip file. It's completely extractable. You can send that off to the auditor, or you can save it in your local document management or your storage facility, all right, forever and a day. Just in case you want to leave my work papers at some stage, you've always got access to it because you've always got your file. By the way, if you pay us for one work paper pack a year, if you leave us, you'll always have access to all of your work papers, so cheap storage for you. I can then complete and archive that file and send it to read-only. After a certain period of time, you can actually customize that if you've got the rights to do it as well, to go to 30 days if you want, or 20 days, up to you totally. Now, let's say that file is now archived and completed. We get to set up a new file. You might just send a review point back to the admin person to say, hey, I've completed that. Can you set me up a new one for next year? Because I know I'm going to do their file again next year. Admin person will come in, and the only information you've got to give them is who it was you were working on, what year you just completed, which was 2025, and that's it. Tell them to select everything because I want to take everything through to the new year. I can select individuals and get granular if I want, but I'm going to take everything, roll forward review points, roll forward workflow, roll forward customizer, and I'm actually going to keep the documents just for this demonstration. If there's statements in that, I'm probably not going to send them through to the new year because they'll be in this file anyway. So I'll go next. And the admin person, very, very simply, will set up a brand new file for you, ready for the new year. Should only take a second or two. There we go, go to the engagement file. Got my 71 work papers still in there. I've got my trial balance all set up with all of my figures in the prior period now, ready to import brand new one for the new year. Okay, very, very simple process. It is very simple. Get your admin person to set up the file, get the accountant to actually import the trial balance and start the work. All of the client documents and information will already be in there because the admin work has been done. You can see very clearly where every job is. You can see set up a nice standard workflow for your staff so that everybody makes your review process really easy and nothing gets missed. You can archive it, save it, set up a new one very, very quickly. Now, last thing I'm going to show you, because we do actually have a few minutes left, is how I can supercharge this. You might look at those planning programs and you might say, well, that seems like a bit of extra work to do. It's really not, but peace of mind for you is that if you do it, even if you have it pre-ticked or make it or bulk sign it off, you know you're up to date with your compliance. Okay, obviously, yet certain areas you will have to attach documents, make comments and things like that, but not for everything. You can actually do that stuff really, really quickly. And our clients that use it well do it in a matter of seconds. But I'm going to make it really quick for you so that if you're coming through your procedures, you will know you'll have your work papers attached to it. So I'm going to grab a different file for this one, a different client. So I've actually got a client called Tony Collette, and believe it or not, she has a construction company. So in my work paper index here, I've got a very basic set of 20 work papers for it. There's no trial balance been imported yet, so let's do that. And I'm going to do it from an MYOB file to show you how easy it is from a custom CSV. So I'll go and find my folder again, where I hold all my sample upload import files. Trial balance, that one there, done. Oh, I didn't mean to browse again. I meant to just upload. Let's just upload. It's an account right file, so we know what the accounting structure is. Headers are all the same. And there is our sample file we're going to bring in. So import it. Only takes a couple of seconds. We've got 35 accounts. It's not huge, but you can see it actually comes in quite neatly. I'd already mapped it, and we'd already selected the correct account right mapping. It's all mapped, ready to go. So let's show you how quick we can actually process one of these questions in a program. So I'm going to go to my assets program this time. All right, you probably see now next to one of these questions, question 2, I've got an attachment to my work paper. And I've got another one down here to my fixed asset summary. So let's answer this question. Ensure the fixed asset register is up to date and reconciles with the trial balance. Well, I don't know. So let's go and do the work. So I'll go to my assets summary, and there it is. But there's no data in there. Okay, let's bring it in. So click on the button, bring it directly in from the trial balance. So there we go. We have a completely populated work paper with all of our costs, accumulated depreciation, net book values, plant and equipment, depreciation figures, so on and so forth. We've got a variance of 12 grand. Well, we better go and find out what that is. There's our trigger value there, 39,000. So I would go and talk to the client. Client will tell me that 12 grand was actually a check car that I forgot to tell you about. So, well, that should actually get us reconciled, I reckon. So yes, it does. So no variance anymore. We are reconciled. Happy days. Save it, Xing out of it. By the way, if you leave it dormant or idle, it'll just save by itself anyway. So we are reconciled. Happy days. Let's go back to our asset program. I can now answer that question because it's now expanded out here to tell us it is reconciled with the additions, trigger values. Yes, let's move on to our next question. And we can attach all the work papers if you want to all of the program questions or queries, processes, procedures, whatever you want to call them. We can do it there, and we can also add it to your workflow, which it already will be in anyway. So either way, whatever speeds up your workflow process, you can do that sort of stuff as well. And we can set up summary sheets. We've got that. That's available because we have a product called Excel Connect that we developed, which allows you to link any work paper field with any figure that's in the trial balance, balance sheet, P&L, general ledger, anything you've got in the system at all. We can set up summary sheets to make sure that everything's reconciled correctly. We can do multi-company consolidated work papers. It's up to you. It's very, very flexible, and we do all that for you. So that's pretty much the end of the presentation. Are there any questions at all? Please feel free to pop them in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Can't see any questions popping in there. I can only assume I've been very thorough, I hope. But as I said, I will reach out. My details were on the screen a little earlier. I can pop them back on the screen if you wish. Let's just do a reshare quickly. Stop sharing that one. Reshare that one so you can see my details. If you do wish to email me, I will get back to you guys, or I'll reach out to you guys the next couple of days, just to ensure you've got everything and I can answer any questions you have. We can do a deeper dive. I can do a quote for you if you wish. Totally up to you. We can talk about pricing, so on and so forth, trials. I do all that sort of stuff. If you want to see a different product, whether it be audit or SMSF, more than happy to run you through that stuff as well. But it doesn't look like any questions are going to pop back in. I'll give you 12 minutes back in your day. Thank you so much for attending. Hopefully you got what you wanted out of it. And hopefully we'll speak very, very soon. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.